Hi, everyone. Good morning and welcome to our webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. Please let us know in the comments where you are joining us from. If you're in Southern Africa, it is freezing. We are in the middle of winter. And please let us know where you are. What is it like in East Africa, West Africa, Switzerland, UK? Where are you? My name is Christine Rita Abankwa. I am the founder of Secure the Bag Africa Pan-African Success Accelerators, which is a high-performance platform where we bring together some of Africa's greatest minds within the continent and in the diaspora. Today, I am joined by two powerful women, forces in their own rights. I have Liza Sekaggya and Eniye Igbanibo. I hope I have pronounced your names properly. If I have not, please call me out on that. We're going to be talking about the success mindset and branding yourself for success and being intentional about your career. I would first of all like the ladies to introduce themselves, tell us about themselves, where they are, what they're passionate about, what they love to do. Liza, please could you start?
Hello, good morning. My name is Liza Brenda Sekaggya, and I am an international human rights lawyer. I pursued human rights basically because I was interested in justice and in supporting causes. So I studied international human rights law. I'm currently working with the United Nations Human Rights Office in Geneva as a human rights officer, and also the co-founder of Phenomenal Women Global. This is a non-profit organization based in Switzerland and Uganda that seeks to advance and empower women. It also looks at developing their leadership skills, providing mentoring, and also supporting children's education in Africa. I was interested in establishing this nonprofit because I saw a distinct gap in leadership structures where women, and especially African women, take long to progress in their career goals. So this organization is basically focused also on providing a space for women to discuss strategies, African women especially, to discuss strategies of how they can rise up in leadership structures. The other thing that I'm passionate about is coaching, and I have coached several women and men because coaching is important to me because I see that this is a very good tool to advance your personal and career goals. So I am a certified success coach and interested in especially supporting African women and men reach their goals and be successful at whatever they're doing, whether it's a profession or a business. I am a feminist as well. I believe in equality between women and men, equal opportunities, equal rights to pay. And I promote women's rights in everything that I do. I'm a Pan-Africanist, and I'm so happy to be on this particular forum because it is exactly, promoting the intellect and innovation and capacities of African people. And one of my main goals is to ensure, that I share whatever knowledge I have with people in the motherland, people in the continent, and also learn from them. And lastly, I am a mother of 2 boys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Liza, and welcome. We're looking forward to hearing more about Phenomenal Women Global. And Eniye, please tell us about yourself, where you are, and everything about you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eniye Igbanibo. Yeah, you didn't murder my name. You did your best.
Thank you.
My name is Eniye. My name is Eniye Igbanibo. I'm a lawyer. I'm currently specializing in energy law. So energy law is my field of interest. And then I do career coaching. I coach young professionals, especially because I feel there's a vacuum there's a knowledge gap in the sense that while we're going to uni and in college and in university, we're taught what to do what kind of work to do, give this quality of advice, that quality of advice. We're taught all of that. But we're not taught how to get into the labor market, how to handle being employed, how to scale through. A few of us that are lucky, that are lucky enough or blessed enough to find people who can lead us so that we do great in our career. So that's why my career coaching is focused on young professionals, because I'm teaching what I know, what I've experienced. And to be honest, the principles don't just apply to young professionals, it applies to everybody. But I like to focus on young people because I believe that every one of us have the capacity to be an outlier. It's just that some persons get access to the tools and other people don't. So for my career coaching program, I have it's called the 360-degree coaching for young professionals, because I look at all the areas, every area. So that's why it's called, just like the name, 360-degree coaching for young professionals. Yeah, so you could, that's basically about my coaching program. I am from Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian. I currently live in the United Kingdom. The master's program here. That's basically it. You're going to find out the rest at the end. So stay tuned to the end. You'll find out more.
Thank you so much, Eniye and Liza, for participating in today's session and for, more importantly, representing Africans in the diaspora. I know Liza is from Uganda, Eniye is from Nigeria. Both of you are doing great things, and we're so proud of you. Eniye, you are going to give us the very first presentation, and so now I would like to give the floor to you. A shout out to everybody who is joining us on Facebook as well.
Okay, I'll start now, and I'll share my screen. Okay. Please, could you confirm that you can see my screen, Christine?
Yes.
Liza. Okay. So good. I'll just start now. So you already know, today we're talking about career performance in terms of visibility, networking, and the success mindset. These are really key three elements of career success. So visibility, networking, and the success mindset, because you need the success mindset to even start making yourself visible or think of networking. So I'll go right into my presentation, which I have now titled Personal Branding and Networking. Personal branding and networking. So under personal branding and networking, I feel like these two things are the key pillars, like they're the main pillars for you to build a successful career, irrespective of where you are. And it's not too late to think that, oh, I've already made some mistakes in my career, or oh, I've missed out some years, I've missed some promotions. You can start right now and apply the principles I want to discuss, and it's going to make a whole lot of difference for you. So what are we going to look at on the personal branding and networking? In personal branding, I'll be looking at self-development and visibility. Then we'll consider networking. So I've divided personal branding into two parts, self-development and visibility. So I'll go on to provide some definitions so that we can understand why it is important for us to be discussing personal branding, especially in relation to career people, in relation to professionals. Why is networking now important to professionals? So I'll go ahead to discuss that. I'm sorry, I need to try to adjust my screen a bit so that, hold on. Okay, so what does personal branding and networking mean? Personal branding is a deliberate effort to influence people's perception of an individual so as to make such individuals stand out in the crowd. That is what personal branding is. I know, like in previous times, every time the conversations around personal branding have been in relation to companies, businesses. You need to have a brand as a business. You need to have a brand as a company. Those are the conversations that have been had in the past. However, personal branding is also important to individuals, especially as a career person. Why is it important? Because whether you like it or not, you have a brand. People have a perception of you. In your place of work, in your industry, your network, people have a perception of you. So it is important that you take control of that perception and decide how they see you. And that's what personal branding is. They deliberately taking efforts to influence how people see you. Instead of allowing them to decide how they see you, you're making the decision, you're taking steps to influence it. Then networking. Networking involves meeting and building ties with people that may be useful to you. I like to emphasize that it's not just meeting people, but it's meeting and building ties. So most times what people do is that people do this of when they go to an event, they try to meet people and then they try to keep the communication for the first 1 month and then that's it. No, you have to build ties. So it's not enough to meet people, but you have to take it the step further of building ties with them, people that might be useful to you, useful to know. I've particularly used the word might because the truth is you can't tell who would be useful at face value. You can't tell when a particular thing will be useful tomorrow or in the next 5 years. So right now, they might just be useful to know. But 5 years' time, they are useful to know. Right now, they look like the people who are useful to know right now. They look like the people that can help you in your career path right now. 3 years down the line, they may not be the people that may help you, or they may not actually help you or be in a position to give you any career support until another 7 years. So that's why I've used it might be useful to know. Meeting and building ties with people that might be useful to know. So I'll then go further into the presentation as to why do we need why is personal branding and networking important? Why is it important for career people to have a brand? Why is it important for you as an individual to have your own brand? One, it helps you stand out in the crowd. And I'm not trying to say that, oh, we're in a competition with anyone, but nobody's an island. You exist together in a society. That other people in your industry, you have people join the industry at the same time with you. So while everyone is on a different journey, while I understand that everyone is on a different journey, for you to stand out in your career path, for you to rise to the top in ranks, you need to deliberately build your own personal brand. You need to decide how the public perceives you. It also, which is the right next thing I want to say, it allows you shape people's perception of you. Like I've said, people already have a perception of you, whether you like it or not. Whether you make any effort to give out a perception of you or not, people will form a perception of you. So it allows you to decide what that perception will be and decide it in a way that it favors you so that you stand out in the crowd. Then for networking, why is networking important? The rule is people can only provide information of an opportunity to those who are top of mind. It's like the reason why companies do adverts. They do a lot of ads because as long as we keep seeing them on TV, we will keep remembering them. It's like Coca-Cola. As long as wherever you go, you're going to see one Coca-Cola ad or the other. They are top of mind. So when you walk into a shop to buy a bottle of drink, when you walk into a restaurant to get food and they ask you, what do you want to take the food? Coca-Cola comes to your mind because they are top of mind. That is what networking does. When you meet people and build ties with them, you are top of mind. So any opportunity that comes their way that they think you should fit into, again, because they perceive you in a particular way, which you have done taking steps to create that perception. And whenever an opportunity comes, you're the person they think about because you are keeping in touch. You're not just starting off relationships and letting them go. It also gives you access to information and makes career progression easy. Information is power. One person can be really good, like just have all of the capacities to do exploits. But if they don't have access to information, what will happen is that they can't, who even has person who has less capacity than them, who has access to information. Information is that powerful. And the bigger your network, the more diverse your network, the more you have a network that cuts across the different stratas in your industry, in your organization, the more the more information you're able to access. And that is why I consider personal branding and networking the two pillars that you need to work on to build an outstanding career. And Dorit Share has put it like perfectly. She said, your career is, so I think, hold on a bit. So I'm trying to make an adjustment here because I noticed that some of my slides are not very, Okay. Yeah, here you go. So Dorothy had put this perfectly. She said, your career is your business. It's time for you to manage it as the CEO. This, for me, is very profound. Most times, the same people who are in career, when they run a business, they have a different attitude. They treat the business as, they respond as a CEO. So they have a business development plan. They have a business visibility plan. They have a marketing plan. They have customer development. They have it all planned out. They're top of their game. Put that same person in a career position. What they do is that they become laid back. They believe that repetition amounts to perfection. They believe if they do it over and again, if they show up at work every day, you get no. Repetition does not take you to the place of excellence. It doesn't take you to rise up to become an alpha. You just don't need repetition. We need deliberate repetition that is being reviewed. And that is what people do when they sit in the position of a CEO in their businesses. So use that same mindset. That is the same mindset you need for your career. And how does that mindset manifest in your career? It might manifest as personal branding and also in the effort you take to network. Now, I'll go on to now talk about these two pillars I have outlined earlier to discuss under personal branding, which is one, self-development, and the second one, visibility. I'll just go ahead because this is a really short presentation. I'll just go ahead to talk about steps for self-development. Now, self-development, as I have defined it, is taking deliberate steps to improve your career. Deliberate, like the steps have to be planned, and you have to have also an implementation plan. Sometimes you have like an implementation plan. So at the end of the year, they've not done anything about their career. So self-development is deliberate. It involves periodic review of the effort you have done. It involves research. Like that is what it means. It's not just, oh, well, since I'm showing up at work every day, I'm developing myself. I'm developing myself by doing this work because I couldn't do it as well I was doing as well as I'm doing it now a year ago. I am improving. Good, you're improving, but that is not all there is to develop yourself. So some of the steps you can take for self-development is one, it is your responsibility to develop yourself. I want to start from the success mindset bit. It is your responsibility to develop yourself. I'm not an advocate for companies that don't take steps, don't invest in their employees. However, I am more interested in the employees. 10 years from now, you may not be working in that organization. Your career is going to be with you for the rest of your lifetime. But the company you're working with, you will not work with. If you can complain of how your company is not investing in developing the employees, there's just one person who's losing, you. While the company may lose in revenue, that's their business. What is your own? What is your plan? And I emphasize this a lot because, in my opinion, the goal is not to be good enough for a job description. The goal is to be an outstanding professional. So you're not trying to be good at it. Let me build myself to this essence so I can work for so and so company. No, the goal is to be outstanding irrespective of organizations. So if that is the goal, you have to adjust your mind and say, it is my responsibility to develop myself. It is my responsibility to take charge of my career. The next thing is you have enough money, time, and access to resources to develop yourself. These are the excuses people give the most. Oh, I really want to do this program, but I don't have money. I don't have time. I'm so busy. I don't have access to resources. The point is, once you prioritize it, you will find time. There are resources available to you, even with your mobile phone. There are courses you can take online. There are trainings you can do even from your mobile phone. Money is also not the issue of the time because they are, like I said, they improve out your what or your value in your industry. Most times, what we do is that we wait for the big courses. We say, "Oh, I want to do this master's program. I want to do this. I want to do this MBA. It's $100 million. It's $100,000." So we keep on focusing our gaze on the things that are out of reach. But the rule is, do what you can until you can do what you want. So do the self-development courses and programs that you can afford until you can do the ones you want. Because as long as you're doing the ones you can, you're still making progress. The next step is to research and identify the future projections in your industry. I don't believe in developing yourself just in the line of passion. Passion is good, but if passion does not translate to value for society, it's not very useful to even you who is chasing passion. So whenever you want to take any step to develop yourself, do a basic research. Where is my industry headed? What will be valuable in my industry in the next 1 year, in the next 5 years? Develop yourself in line with those advancements. Research and identify the knowledge and skills relevant to the future projections and your career goals. So draw your career goals in line with the future. Don't draw career goals in isolation. Look at the future. Where is the industry going? Draw them in line with the future. Research and identify the skills that are needed for the future and start building them now. Even when circumstances that nobody predicts will happen in an industry, those who had planned for the future are always in a better position to fit into the unforeseen circumstances than those who did not develop themselves in alignment with the future. The next thing is, after you've done all of this research, draw up a plan on when and how you intend to acquire the knowledge and skill. People always draw up a plan of how. They don't put time to it. You need to set smart goals. When? What will I do at the end of 3 months? What will I do at the end of 6 months? Will I do at the end of 2 years? How will I go about this? Do I need to do paid courses? Do I need to read up materials? Do I need to reach out to people? Draw out the when and the how, not just a plan that is just brought out there. I want to do this. That is not a plan. It's just, will I say a dream? It's just out there. It's until you put when and how to a plan that you can start executing it. Move on to implement the plan and put repeat. Why repeat? Because self-development is not something you do for 5 years and stop. Like I said, the industries are always changing. So you need to continue developing yourself as long as you want to stay relevant. The person who wants to stay relevant does not stop developing themselves. They keep developing themselves. The other thing to do, so that is it for self-development. I'll now move on to visibility, which is the second arm of personal branding. For visibility, these are the steps you need to become visible. First of all, you need to understand that visibility is important. There are a lot of opportunities out there. When people say there are no opportunities, it's because one is either you don't have information about the about under networking, or two, they are not visible, and so the opportunities don't look for them. There are people who opportunities look for LinkedIn because they are visible. There are people who opportunities look for even in your organization because they are visible. It's not important to be visible. So visibility is taking deliberate steps to be seen. There is a difference between visibility and I call it high service now. High service is where you don't have what, and you're just trying to ensure people see you as bringing value to the table. In visibility, you are taking steps to ensure that the value you're bringing to the table is seen, because it is important that the value you're bringing is seen. If it is not seen, you would miss opportunities. And so it is important to be visible. To rise in any industry, you need to be visible. People give the excuse of, oh, I'm a shy person, I don't like going out there. The point is that, is your career important to you? I'm sure the answer is yes. Well, if your career is important to you, visibility is necessary for the career advancement you need. So see it as just like one of the professional exams you need to take to keep your career going. And some of professional exams that you need to take from time to time. That is how much you need visibility. It is very central to your career growth. So what are the steps for visibility? Again, I like to start from the mindset. It is possible for you to be visible. People have the impression that visibility is meant for others, not them. You can be visible also. I want you to make that mental shift. So when you go through LinkedIn and you see people that are posting, I'm pleased to announce, I'm happy to announce, and please, all those people who put all those things out there, if you look within, there's something you're doing that is also worthy of projecting out there. It is possible for you to be visible. Secondly, it is your responsibility to make yourself visible. Each time people say, oh, I did this and that work, and nobody's giving me credit for the work, I believe it is your responsibility to make yourself visible. Own the work you have put in. And own the work you put in, take responsibility. The thing is that most times the problem is people don't realize it's their responsibility. First of all, they don't realize the importance of visibility. They don't realize it's their responsibility to be visible. So even when they have done things that are worthy of being applauded, they don't bring it to the fore. So realize that it is now your responsibility. Now that you have realized that it's possible for you to be visible and that it's your responsibility to be visible, draw up a visibility plan. How can I be seen in my organization? How can I be seen in my industry? Those are the questions you're asking yourself. How do I make myself seen in my industry? How do I make myself seen in my organization? It's not so hard. Write research papers, write articles. LinkedIn is even interesting. Like, people make long posts. You can engage people on social media, have conversations. Don't scroll through LinkedIn all the time. You're scrolling through. You're not liking anybody's post. You're not commenting on anybody's post. You're not making any posts. So how would anybody know that you exist? There are a lot of developments in every industry. Write about them. People have written, even thought leaders in your industry constantly write about development and in your sector. They do research, they carry out the different projects, whatever industry you're in, there are different research works, different projects going on. Engage those activities, volunteer to be part of them. That is how you become visible. When you volunteer to be part of them, again, it's not enough to do the work. Put the work you're doing out there. It's not being proud. It's not being proud, it is telling your story. There are two things with telling your story. One, it inspires others. Remember that if there's no other reason why you want to put it out, if you feel that you don't want to rise in your career path at all, which I don't believe that is the case, I know you want to rise in your career. So do something about it, which is put yourself out there. There's something you're working on. If there's nothing you're working on out right now that is worth putting out, start working on something. Don't just do a one-off plan. That's why I say you should draw up a visibility plan, because it has to be consistent. The thing with people with human beings is that today they remember that you did this. 6 months later, a lot of people have done other things in 6 months, so you're no longer top of mind. So you need to keep doing something to put yourself out there. It's the same example with Coca-Cola. They don't stop doing ads. They do January. They do every day. So you have to take steps to be visible every other day. Implement the plan. Don't drop plans that you don't want to implement. And repeat because it's not a one-off thing, like I've said. You need to do it over and over and again. Now to the second arm for career advancement, which is networking. I'll just go ahead to mention some rules for networking, because I've already stated earlier the importance of networking and what networking means. The first thing is be genuinely interested. And the question I always ask is, are you interested in career advancements? I'm sure the answer is yes. If the answer is yes, realize that networking is that important. So the conversation they're having, the conversation in the room, the conversation, I like saying LinkedIn all the time, the conversation is something that relates to your career. So be genuinely interested. It's not hard to be genuinely interested in something. This is just put a reminder in your head. This is for my career. I'm genuinely interested in my career advancement. Therefore, I have to be genuinely interested in this conversation. Be genuinely interested. It's not hard a while, but the more you try it over and again, you realize that you're interested in conversations. The next thing, remember this rule. Don't forget this rule. Nobody is unimportant. Nobody is unimportant. It's that important in your organization, from the personal assistant to the support staff. Nobody is unimportant. Everybody is important in the networking chain. That's why most times when I talk to people, I tell them network across strata, because you don't know who will be relevant 5 years from now. Don't look at anybody and say, oh, right now they're not the MD, right now they're not the managing partner, so this person is unimportant. It's not about right now. Your career is a journey. It's not going to end in 3 years. So realize that everybody is important. Nobody, don't overlook anybody, because most times people have overlooked in the past have turned out to bring more value to the table than even those who they thought would bring value to the table. So remember, nobody's unimportant. Bring something to the table. When I say network, I didn't say you should just look out for people that might be important, industry leaders, the heads of your department, and build relationships with them, and because you want to benefit from those relationships, because you want to be top of mind to them, because you want to always get information from them. What are you bringing to the table? Value attracts value. If you bring value, you would attract value. Most times, all of those people that you're trying to network with, because people always say, "Oh, I try to network, and people are being difficult. They don't want to talk to me. They're not interested in building relationships with me." The thing is that value attracts value. Even people that don't like you are going to respect the value you bring to the table. So even if they don't want to network with you at all, even if you're not the person they would prefer to recommend for a role, if you bring value to the table, they are going to be forced to recommend you. And value in your place of work is not just doing just what they have told you to do. It's the person who goes over and above that brings value. If everybody else is doing what they've been told to do, there's nothing special about you. If you're doing what everybody else is doing, bring something extra to the table. I could give a lot of examples, but I'm kind of pressed for time. When you bring something to the table, keep in touch. Keep in touch with people. Just, "Oh, hi, I was just checking on you. Oh, how about this project you told me about?" It's back to being genuinely interested. You can't keep in touch if you're not genuinely interested in what the right person was doing. When they were telling you about the things they work on, you didn't pay attention. You're not genuinely interested. So how do you keep in touch? You can keep in touch. You can follow up a conversation with what the person is working on, what matters to the person. Everybody likes when people remember what they are working on. So check on them, keep in touch. "Oh, you told me about this project you're working on. How is this project going? I'm also working on some projects. Will you be interested? What are your thoughts on this?" You see, it's value and genuine interest that helps you to keep in touch. The rule is that you have to keep in touch. And to stay networking all the time, you have to make rules 1 to 4 a lifestyle. It's not something you do one off. You have to keep doing it over and again. And these things are not difficult because if you do them over and again, it becomes a lifestyle. Like most of the things that people do, the habits that it's like a habit you form. When you practice it over and again, it becomes part of you. And so like I want to end this session by telling you to take action. It's not enough for us to join these webinars, to listen to these powerful speeches and say, "Oh wow, amazing, great speech." Take action. 1, rewire your mind. How are you going to rewire your mind? By realizing that it is your responsibility. Your career advancement is your responsibility. Take the burden off your employer and own it. Rewire your mind and realize that it is your responsibility to develop yourself, to become visible, to take steps to network. So all the complaint of my I don't have a lot of people in my network because my company don't pay for conferences. If I had gone for so and so conference, I'd have had the opportunity to network with this and that person. These people you're talking about are on LinkedIn, and they have been writing papers, and you have not read any of their papers, and you're blaming the organization for not paying for conferences for you. You see what I'm talking about? Rewire your mind and take responsibility for your career. When you have done that, which I really want you to do, draw up a self-development and visibility plan. You can really rewatch this video over and again to draw up that plan. Draw up a self-development and visibility plan. Implement both plans. Implement them like consistently. You know the repeat part for both of them. You have to keep repeating and start networking. You can start networking even on this webinar by saying hello to one person on the comment section who has already commented. Start networking. It's not far off. It's one step at a time. Start networking. And so I'll just do a quick recap of everything I've said in this session. In this session, I've shared with you how you can build your personal brand as a career person, as a professional, through self-development and by making yourself visible. I've also talked about how you can network across strata by bringing something to the table, being genuinely interested in people and what they do. You can't fake interest because you can't sustain it. Be genuinely interested. Remember this. Don't forget this rule. Nobody is unimportant. The security man is not unimportant. The personal assistant, everybody is important in the chain. Your colleagues, your contemporaries, your seniors, everybody, even the people in your organization that everyone has relegated to the background, they are all important because nobody really knows what will happen 5 years from now. You want to be in a place where you have a lot of people you can reach out to need information. People who can easily remember you whenever they have information to provide that information to you. And if you're genuinely interested in people and what they do, whenever they have information that relates to you, they're going to bring the information to you without you even asking. So please these are the things I've discussed. You can always rewatch this video if you want to implement these principles. And I really want you to implement the principles. Now, at the beginning, when I introduced myself, I said I was going to say more about me at the end. So again, I'm a lawyer. I focus on energy law. I'm the founder of the 360-degree coaching for young professionals program because I focus a lot on young professionals. I want them to apply all of these principles very early in their career so they can rise really fast. I've been coaching young professionals for 2 years now, and I have an online course on personal branding and networking for young professionals. So all of these things I've talked about in about 20 minutes or more, a little over. I have a course that spreads through a month on this same subject matter. It has toolkits that can help you implement each of these steps. So I really encourage you to enroll for the course because these things are really, really important. You can sign up for the course through the link Eniye Igbanibo.disha.page. So I have included this on every page of my slide. So any page of this slide you look at, you're going to find it at the bottom of the page. This is it, eniye.igbanibo.disha.page. If you type this on your browser, it will take you to my page and you're going to find the link for enrolling for my personal branding and networking course. And you can also follow me on social media on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Just look for Eniye Igbanibo and you'll find me. I also hold live sessions on career conversations on Instagram every Wednesday at 7:30 West African time. You can join the discussion because we discuss various career principles every other Wednesday. And these principles are going to help you in your career and also in your life. And this is it. This is a wrap for the presentation. I'm going to now hand over to Liza for her to tell you more on how you can take charge of your career and all of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eniye.
Yeah.
I'll just wait for your screen.
Okay. Stop sharing.
Yes.
Yeah,
thank you, Eniye. First of all, since we're talking about personal branding, what does Eniye mean and in which language?
Oh, Eniye means mine.
Mine.
Yes.
Okay. And the language?
It's Ijo.
Ijo, okay. Well,
Ijo language, yeah.
You've taught us something. I really enjoyed your presentation. One of the points that really stuck out was the importance of seeing your career as a business and visibility. And I think that was such a relatable example you gave of how we just scroll through other people's LinkedIn feeds and it's like visibility is for other people and it's not for me. When you were presenting, the line broke a little bit and I think we missed what you were saying about money. So I'd just like you to continue that comment. When people say they don't have money to invest in themselves.
Okay. When people say they don't have money to invest in themselves, it's because they're looking at something that is far away. The rule is do what you can, but you can do what you want. There are courses you can afford. Pay for those ones. There are free materials on the internet. Read them. Just do what you can. Don't fold your hands. So whenever you ask them, what do you want to do about your career? They say, oh, I have this plan. I'm working on the funds. I'm trying to raise money. I don't have a sponsor. That's why. Otherwise, I would do A and B and C. But what can you do with the funds you have? They are free materials. I like to sit by emphasize the materials on the internet. Just go and look for you. Find and read. Improve yourself. Knowledge is power. So the knowledge you've acquired is going to manifest in your conversations, in your approach towards issues. It will show, even if you don't have a certification to show for it. And then there are also things you can afford. It's a matter of priority and sacrifice. What is most important to me right now? I am not even talking about priority in relation to the big, expensive, MBA is $100,000. I'm not even talking about sacrifice in relation to those big things. There are little courses you can pay for. Do those things and improve yourself. Yeah, that's what I said.
Yes, thank you. One more thing. When people, when you tell people that, they can empower themselves with online courses, Don't you ever get anybody wondering about accreditation? Because I know a lot of people will say, well, is there a job I can apply for with this?
So the thing is that, like I have said already, it reflects the world is moving really fast. So even some of the big companies have removed the requirements for you must have a first class, you must have a 2-1 to apply to their companies. Because the world is realizing that, even the organization are realizing that it's not just the certifications that matter. You must, it's being a person of value. And it's hard if you apply all of these rules. If you're developing yourself along the line of, okay, I don't have certification for this development I'm doing, I don't have certification, but you're visible. It's even hard when the employer says that, wow, so you who put out all of this content, writing all of this research paper, you don't have any certificate on. It's hard to know. And that's why it's not just a principle of one side applies. You have to apply all of them together. So where one fails you, the other comes to your research.
Thank you so much for that, Eniye. I'm going to hand over to Liza, who is going to be discussing the success mindset.
Hello, everybody. I'm trying to get my presentation up. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a slideshow. Okay, so welcome again. For those of you who have just joined us, I'll quickly say who I am. I'm Liza. I'm an international human rights lawyer, currently working with the United Nations Human Rights Office as a human rights officer. I'm also the co-founder of Phenomenal Women Global. I'm a passionate success coach. I believe in women's empowerment and ensuring that women, especially African women, have equal opportunities for career growth and for leadership. And I'm a feminist, a Pan-African, a supporter of African advancement in so many ways, in building our intellectual capacity and having a say in the continent and world over. And I'm a mother of 2 boys. Just a disclaimer, the views and information expressed here are those of the author, that is me, and do not purport or reflect the opinions or views of any specific organization of its members. So that's, everything here is my own view. I will talk specifically about success. Eniye has spoken a lot about branding, about networking, and I think this is all linked. Now we will just go into details about success. What is success? How is it defined? How I personally define success, and some steps to achieving success, including having a coach, looking at vision, mission, your plan, setting goals and values, and having career success as well, which will mirror and resonate with a lot of what Eniye has said. We will also look at the success mindset and walking in your truth and legacy and what that means. And I will also talk a bit about my organization, Phenomenal Women Global, and right at the end. And in between, I will give examples of my life. So I will also use pictures of some people who I feel have had interesting success paths. And the first picture there is a picture of women who attended one of our Phenomenal Women Global conferences. Each of them have their own businesses and they're strong women. One has a school, one has a beauty parlor, another one is an economist, and they've had interesting career lives. But I'll just show you a few pictures as I make my points. So in the first place, I would like to say that defining success is different depending on who you are. But the dictionary describes success as attaining wealth, prosperity, and fame. And there I have some icons who everybody knows, like Martin Luther King, Bill Gates, Nelson Mandela, and we also have Judge Julia Sebutinde, who is the first African woman to be a judge at the International Court of Justice in The Hague. So we can see that success takes different angles. It's the media defines it in many ways. I mean, the media focuses a lot on material wealth, on people who have successful careers and who are famous, like Martin Luther King and people like that. And a lot of these successful people had visions. I mean, like Martin Luther King was focusing on a cause, and for him, success was abolishing racial discrimination, ensuring that schools and communities are desegregated. And one thing that he did say, that in his I Had a Dream speech, he mentioned that men are not judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. And this was one success criteria he really focused on, equality. Mandela also, looked at, abolition of apartheid, democracy, forgiveness. As soon as he came out of prison, he forgave people. So in his case, success was having a South Africa that was apartheid free. And a lot of other people, women especially, look at success in terms of, am I married? What is my relationship status? This is a very important aspect that a lot of women I have talked to consider as one of their success criteria. And we can see Mandela and Graça Machel. Graça Machel was actually married to 2 presidents. So some women actually consider that also a form of success. But one should always have their own definition of success. So what is your definition of success? To me, when I think of success, I look at my values and my goals and see whether I have achieved those. And I think that resonates with the last slide. There is also an issue of, yes, your goals. What is your vision? Have you achieved your vision? And I think success should look at different aspects of your life, from your career, like Eniye talked about in detail, your health, your finances, spirituality, your life purpose, the whole gamut, and not just career and finances, because many people think if I have a successful career and I have finances, I'm successful. But other areas of your life are also important, because if your health ails, then it affects your career and it affects your finances, etc., etc. So we have to look at it in a holistic way. And also, success is about having a legacy. What do you want people to remember you for when you die, when you're gone? It's great to look at in people who have inspired you and role models, to see how they have been living their life and looking at how they define success. And for me, my mom being one of my role models, she's also a lawyer like me, and the judge who is in the picture with my mom, Judge Julia. As a lawyer, sometimes you want to consult, for example, people who have achieved the highest level of success in their careers, to find out their strategies as well. And of course, we have Oprah and Michelle Obama, who are a lot of women and girls around the world's role models. So as I mentioned, vision is very important in achieving success. If you don't have a vision, it is very hard to be successful. You can't just wake up day by day with no plan, no future. And look at who you are versus what you would like to become. So if you're thinking of developing a vision, who am I? What would I like to become? What are my values? What are the things that are important to me? And what wouldn't I compromise? You ask yourself as well, what is your purpose? What do I love to do? What don't I love to do? What skills do I have? And what does the world need? And this is a part of the process of, looking introspectively into yourself and trying to find a vision for yourself. And what do people say about me? Because a lot of times people already spot the skills, some of the skills you yourself have not seen, and say maybe you're a people person or you're a good communicator, and you might take that for granted, but that's also another tool you will use to achieve success. And of course, the legacy. So I would like to quote Nelson Mandela, since we're virtually in Southern Africa today. He said, "We have a limited time to live on this earth. We have to use this time to develop our country into what we would like it to be: democratic, non-racial." This was one of his visions, and a very powerful vision, because South Africa is living it today. Maya Angelou, another person I read a lot, I read all her books, her poems, everything. She said, "People will not remember what you did or said, but they'll remember how you made them feel." So as you plan your vision, what impact are you leaving on the people? And this will also be one of the areas that people will say, okay, she was successful, she made me feel happy, she helped me with this and the other. Let's go through a few of the steps. And of course, these are steps that we also use in coaching. As a success coach, I always ask the people who are my coachees to, first of all, have a written vision statement, make goals, and have concrete actions. This is similar as well to, for your career and everything. And I believe that that a vision, having this vision, I'm very spiritual. It comes from God. And it goes far beyond what one person can accomplish. It also blesses others. When I was co-founding Phenomenal Women Global, I didn't think that other people would be touched or would benefit so much from it. But now we see a lot of networks opening up, a lot of conferences opening up. Our conferences give opportunities for women to network. Some people get jobs after that. So when you have a vision, and you nurture it and you build it, you see that it can attract resources and it blesses others. Now, the woman on the right was a speaker at the Phenomenal Women's Conference last year in 2019. And she talked about the mindset of a godly woman. But it was not so much what she said, it's how she leads her life, which is a vision and purpose-driven life. Her name is Faye, she's from Nigeria. And she is the author of a best-selling book. She authored a book, and she's got two books coming up very soon. But this is very important because someone with a vision writes down their vision. It's easier to achieve your vision when you write it down. And a Harvard study shows that 75% of the time you achieve your results and your goals when you write them down. So the vision should also be in line with your values and, integrity. Some people, integrity is important. Write it down. Family is important. Spirituality, whatever is important to you should be factored in as you do your vision, because then there's some things you won't accept to do, like something illegal, for instance, if you value integrity. So also sharing with people your vision helps them help you to advance. Like I said, I was feeling stuck in my career at one point and feeling like I need to move up in my career, do something different, be stimulated. And the same person in this picture encouraged me, and she believed in my vision and moved me to the next step by saying, okay, let's book a conference room. So we start talking about the issue of empowering women, African women with leadership skills in Europe, living in Africa. And we did that. But of course, some people will not see your vision, and sometimes you can stop because you're discouraged. Someone, and very close friends, can also tell you, nah, we don't need that. Why don't women just support themselves? And that happened to me, and I put my vision away for a while. But somebody came and believed in it, and I moved on. And so one thing you should know, that your vision is uniquely yours. Not everyone will see it the way that you see it. And so they might discourage you, but because it's in you, you have the capacity to bring it out and implement it. So I just want to show you this diagram in the sense that I want you to have a clear thought process as you develop your vision, your goals, and your action. And I'm just using myself as an example, where I had this vision to be influential on social issues that affect me and my community, and that is African women, women of African descent, people of African descent. So one of my goals was to empower African women and girls with leadership skills to grow in their careers and influence decisions affecting them. That is the blue box, goal 1. But I also realized that I needed to improve and enhance my communication skills, because I would have to speak to people, convince them to join my cause. And yes, I didn't want to just speak like a lawyer, but I wanted to speak like an influencer. I wanted to speak like a person with authority and knowledge of the subject matter. So I did do a bit of public speaking, and I did a bit of writing, to write differently, because more or less my style was very UN or very legalistic. And I thought, let me try and write in a more, general sense. And then there you have clear activities which you can pursue. Like I organized a conference, I contacted influential speakers, and I also did a course in speaking. So when you do all that, I mean, just have a framework in which you organize your vision, your goal, and your actions, and schedule weekly routines and time in your agenda to fulfill them. So clear timelines. So as a result of me starting off like this, and of course there was so many other actions, I established Phenomenal Women Global as a non-profit. We have over 200 members or followers around the world. And me and a lot of the people have coached and mentored different women. We have helped women get job leads, consultancies, because we have created this space where women are seen and women can speak, they can network together. So our conferences actually, people do deals and people are like, oh, you're a coach, can I come and see you? Or you're selling beauty products, can I come? So we help women grow in that sense. And what I was saying about having a vision that touches people, and once you help people, you yourself are blessed in ways. So one of the tools I would like to talk about is the Wheel of Life tool. So as a coach, and when I was coached as well, I did a leadership training course, and I had a coach who helped me pursue my vision of establishing this organization. And one of the things we did was the Wheel of Life tool. When I mentioned earlier, you need to evaluate all areas of your life. So success is not just your career and your finances, it's everything, your social life, your health. Health is so important and crucial, both mental and physical. It's your finances, yes, it's your emotional health, it's your family, your relationships. And relationships is not just intimate relationships, but relationships at work. How do you use them? Eniye talked about networking. How do you build on those relationships? So for each of your goals, you have to set up action points, and your highest values have to go into that. Do not compare yourself with other people, because we're different. I'm not the same as Whitney Houston. I'm not the same as Eniye. I'm not the same as Christine. We're all different. So make your goals based on you. Like, for example, a concrete health goal would be keeping in fit. Maybe you want to reduce from a size 12 to a size 10 to fit in a particular dress. So you eat well and you keep fit. Your body is healthy. Your mind is healthy. And as you're healthy, you're also pursuing your career and everything in a very positive way. So most people do not have clear visions in life, and most of the successful people do. And that's why they are wealthy, or that's why they are famous, because they write it down and they follow it. So that is a great tool to use for yourself, and you can grade yourself out of 10, how you feel, for example, in your career. Are you happy? What is your satisfaction level? 5, if let's say 5. So what are you going to do about it so you can reach at least 8? Are you going to look for a new job? Are you going to build some capacity? Are you going to do some training? So grade yourself periodically, like every 3 months, and just see whether you're moving up, whether you're improving. It's one way of just testing your satisfaction and your road to success. So when you set your goals, one thing you have to do is see what you want to achieve, say, in a month, in 5 years, in 10 years. Just like you do when you're at work. When you're at work, you have a clear plan for the organization. You have goals for this year. You have goals for the next year. Do so with your life as well. I'm not going to go in detail on these specific areas, but just for example, if you want to pursue personal development goals, you can ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? What experiences do I want to create? What interests do I have? What skills do you have? Maybe you need more skills. If you're writing a book, do you know how to write? Do you know how to write creatively? So you have to, as you do your goals, you have to also identify who you want to be at the end and what skills are required. And whether you have the money as well. And then emotional goals, I mean, are you someone who gets angry? Do you snap at work with your colleagues? Is this something you want to work on? Community goals. My project was mainly community, looking at phenomenal women. I was looking at making the world a better place. So you build on every goal, on health, but always ask yourself why you want that specific thing, because deep down inside, that reflects success for you. Why do I want to be the CEO? and you start working towards it. Why? What is the why? Because I will feel successful, I will have more money. That's a way of just, evaluating yourself. So since the subject is really career, and most people see success as having a lot of money and a big career, let's talk about it a bit. Money matters were discussed in Secure the Bags events so many times, financial issues. So I will not go deeply into it. But if you're a business person, ask yourself, are you leading your dream business? How many people do you want to impact as you're developing your goals? How many items do you want to sell monthly? What's your net worth? What are your investment goals? Where should one invest in for real estate to make money? Contingency funds, bonds, all these things. These are the things, if you define success by money, understand money, learn money, how it works, how to make more money, how to multiply it, and how to be successful in that sense. But when it comes to career, some of you are stuck in jobs that are unfulfilling. Ask yourself, is this really my dream job? What gives me greatest importance? The title of the job? Who do I want to work for? What's my ideal team? What kind of salary do I want? And when you've asked yourself those questions, you will start looking for organizations that fit in with your expectations. If you're looking for high salary, you will move on from a government job maybe to a private sector. If you're looking for having a great team and just working on causes that inspire you, you might move to an NGO. So it's very important to analyze that career perspective. I mean, when I was younger, in my early 20s, I was all for causes. Yes, I'm a lawyer. I was there in the US working on death penalty cases. I was in Uganda, my home country, working with refugees, working with children's rights. I was so driven by any cause. Every time I saw a job on a cause, I was there, and I built up experience. But as I grew older, also, I got tired of moving from country to country and place to place, and I settled for more, a job that was dealing more with policy now, like what I'm doing at the UN. So it was no longer action oriented. I'm there in the country. I'm in the prison. I was more. I'm more now in a more, according to my temperament, I have a family and all that. So you look at all those things that, look and see how you can benefit from that. So some of the tips I can give you for career success is start strategically connecting with organizations you want to work with. If you feel you do not have that skill, if you're an energy lawyer like Eniye and you want to move into, say, human rights, apply for an internship. Get that feel in an internship in a human rights area, get the feel, and then apply for a job. So you're building skills. You might not get paid, but you're building that skill. Study leaders in your organization. Bosses and CEOs are there for a reason. They have particular skills. Maybe they've been networking. Maybe they've been doing different things. How did they make it? Interview them and see. Your job provides you with financial security, yes, but pursue your life plan. You might be in a job for money, but you might not feel that that's really where I'm supposed to be. So try and find a way of networking with people who will get you where you want to be. You should also know when to leave. It's okay to quit a job if you feel you have reached your maximum capacity, there's no room for growth, or you're not happy, but have an exit strategy. Don't just wake up and leave, especially for us in Africa, where social security is not always tied in well. We need to also have a strategy before we just up and leave because we're not happy in a job. Self-awareness, ask yourself if you're happy. Yes, I've done that. What is your vision for your career? And Eniye touched on this. What do you see yourself doing in the future? So establishing career goals is very, very important. I'm not going into this as Eniye talked about it. Have a mentor and a coach. I had a coach and it really benefited me. I got a temporary promotion because I was using the skills I had learned from coaching and from my leadership course. And I also worked on a course, Phenomenal Women Global, establishing this organization because I was coached and I realized that I could actually do it. All my goals were written down for that phase of my life in 2018. And I was just looking at the papers today and I ticked every single thing was done on my chart. So now I have to develop new goals because they're done. So get a coach and start building yourself. Invest in knowledge, learning. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and go to travel to a new country, meet new people, and join networks of like-minded people. If you want to work in energy law, join those networks. If you want to work in banking, be in networks of bankers. So how do you achieve your goals? Step one, we talked about it. Have your life vision, make it very, very clear, have it written down, list everything you want to do, have a to-do list. There's so many tools on the internet that allow for you to plan. You know, there's vision boards, there are tables, Excel tables, but just have it really written down and organize the list by priority in order of things that you want to do. Break it up into small steps and mini goals and consult with people who've already done it. And that's why I can't overemphasize the role of having a coach, because they've already done it, or some of these role models. And remove success blockers, bad habits, unsupportive people. Learn to put boundaries. You can say no, because these people will stop you from pursuing your goals. I mean, if you have friends who are always drinking and you have big plans and you're always away, maybe it's time, to put a stop to that and work on your goals. Have an accountability partner, somebody who holds you responsible and says, what have you done? Have you worked on this goal? I mean, the picture up there is my sister. When I told her I wanted to establish and work on something to do with women, she quickly made me a flyer. She made me a Facebook page. She checked on me and asked me, okay, so what have you done? And I was a bit slow about it, but my accountability partner was ahead of me. So when you have that person who supports you, lean on them. Lisa Nichols, a very powerful motivational speaker, said, underneath every goal have 3 milestones. So the power of prioritization. When you hit them, you are going in the right direction. And under each of the milestones have 5 action steps. You can't do everything. You can choose a few things and prioritize. And we know where she is now. She started at nothing, and right now she's a multi-millionaire and a very good motivational speaker who is sought after every day. And there are very few African or people of African descent motivational speakers that earn as much as she does. So highly successful people finish what they started by doing a few things at a time. So let's talk about this success mindset as we conclude. I would like to reference Miles Monroe because I feel that he's one of the positive motivational speakers. He said, if you want to be impactful, you have to develop certain types of thinking. You have to have this positive mindset. Meditate on good things. Your mind is your asset. The capitals, that's my words. Your mind is your asset. But before that, that was Miles Monroe. He's written very many books about positive thinking. If you fill yourself with positive things, you will do positive things. If you decide to have negativity, you will do negative things. Successful people think differently from unsuccessful people. He said again, you don't need to be intelligent, smart, etc. It's your attitude that counts. That's what will make you successful. Thinking makes you see things differently and adds value to people, and it leads you to having a fulfilled life. Another successful person said, if you want to achieve something, make sure you visualize it every day. If you want to have that mansion, for example, material things, a huge mansion with a pool, whatever, visualize it every day. Inspire yourself, put pictures of it, because the mind, the way the subconscious mind works is that it will then start pushing you to little steps and little actions. And then also have strategic alliances. Keep company with successful people. If you want to be successful, be strategic. If you want to be unsuccessful, yes, hang out with the unsuccessful people, but be very strategic. And now I would like to quote the Bible. He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed. And that's in Proverbs. So connect with the right people and disconnect with the wrong ones. It is okay to end specific alliances because they are not useful. Remove toxic people from your life. You might be advancing in your careers, but you're in a very toxic relationship. That's going to bring you down, and you bring down your success if you don't deal with it. What do you do when you have a struggle? A successful mindset also makes you think about the potential challenges you could face. So if I decide today to invest in X business, what are the potential challenges or failures that could come up? I have to think of all those scenarios. I shouldn't just go in thinking, okay, I'm putting my money in, but I should think also of the potential scenarios that could make it unsuccessful. And then, of course, be accountable to yourself. Have your weekly scoring for yourself. How did I do this week on my goals? Did I achieve them? Think about it and just score yourself so that you can continue to grow. So you don't have to settle for a mediocre life. It doesn't matter how much money you have, but you need to make your own dreams a reality. Work on yourself. If you're stuck and unhappy and successful, this is the time. All this material that Eniye and I have shared here is going to help you. Have a peace of mind, remove toxicity. And then what I would like to say, especially for those of you with children, start planting the seed now. Tell them you are successful. You can be who you want and you can do what you want. I was lucky to grow up with parents that supported me in that sense. So I knew the sky was the limit. They always told me to have a plan right from my early childhood. My mom would always say, when you're on holiday, what's the plan today? What are you going to do? Are you going to study? Are you going to do exercise? Are you going to cook? So I'm a planning freak now. I plan for everything, for my career, for my health, for everything. But the important thing is seed in your children the idea of planning and being successful. Read inspirational books and study. If you want to become rich, study the wealthy. If you want to be a good lawyer, study successful lawyers. If you want to be a good banker, study successful bankers. Now, if you look at, again, the mindset of successful people, the woman on the right, her name is Charlene. She was a speaker at one of our conferences in Boston. She is a Ugandan American. I think that's how you say she's a Ugandan American. She came from Uganda as an immigrant. She was an ardent campaigner for the current president, Barack Obama. She worked on small campaigns in the area where she lived. And she has now taken up a political office as a councillor in Waltham, where she lives. So from the immigrant story to somebody who educated herself, she was a journalist, she was an anchor, to helping Obama's campaign, and now she has that seat. And she has met all these influential politicians, a lot of influential politicians in the US. So she had a plan, she had a vision, and she had a habit of successful people. She thought, think win-win when you're thinking of success. How do I support other people? And how would they support me? The power of positive association. She associated with positive people, with people who would help her in her campaign as well to be a counselor. She was part of this Obama campaign and therefore met many people who taught her and who were able to positively impact her until she said she wanted to run herself. She is the first African woman to hold that post in that specific area. So have habits of successful people. Charlene, and in our conference, talked about having a routine, waking up early, having a good rest, prayer or meditation, or wherever you connect with your higher power, having a vision that is written, and goals, and sleeping enough, eating enough. These are very simple things, but I remember her mentioning them very clearly, and it stuck in my head, and I thought, let me put it in my presentation. So she was a speaker at one of our conferences. So moving forward, as we end, what should you do? Take some action. Get a coach, a success coach or any kind of coach, to support you to advance your goals. This was very useful for me. Like I said, I don't think I would have done it if I didn't have one. I would have had too much procrastination. Have a retirement plan as well. Remember what we talked about, having a legacy. Have this plan where you use your vision and your skills and everything and your talents and have something set up before you retire. Avoid because right now, a lot of times we get old and we don't have any source of income after that, or we rely on relatives. This is the situation in many African countries, but our generation should stop that cycle. Have a plan, have a business, do it before you retire so that when you retire, you're very tired when you retire. You cannot run around social media advertising this and advertising that. Yes, you can, but you can also start to work on it now. As long as you hit 30, I feel you should start working on that retirement plan. Don't fear failure, because failure leads you to success. You will see where you made your mistakes and work on them. A lot of the world's greatest inventions failed at first, but with that failure, there was success after. Then, of course, have a succession plan. If you're a CEO of an organization, if you die today, who's going to take over? Will the organization die with you? Have a plan. Leave a legacy of trained CEOs, trained African potentials, potentially smart people if you're based in Africa or wherever you are, but leave that legacy behind. And of course, have a will. Have a will, putting all your intentions and and your thoughts. And then most importantly, please transfer all your knowledge to the younger generations who are our future leaders. Without doing that, I feel we will not be successful. If the knowledge dies with you, in Africa, we don't write a lot of our history. I know that my grandparents had a lot of knowledge with them and their stories were so enriching, but nothing is written. They died with the knowledge. So let us begin to write and let us begin to transfer this knowledge to the younger generation. So I have concluded my presentation on success, but I would like to tell you about Femina Women Global. So we are an organization based in Switzerland and Uganda, established in 2018. I'm one of the co-founders, established primarily also because I had a good coach and I saw what I wanted to do and I pursued it. We have focal points now in North America, UK, Uganda, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and France. Those are some of our members in the US, the bigger picture, and below that are some of our members in Geneva, Switzerland. So we have a lot of members, and we have a mission to connect, advance, and empower women and girls by supporting their personal and professional growth, developing leadership skills, coaching and mentoring, and we focus a lot on people from underserved communities, but in particular, women of African descent, from all generations and all disciplines. So we don't differentiate. It's not a group of lawyers or a group of bankers. It's women of all skills, all disciplines in life. And we also share with men. We invite men leaders and men to our conferences because we know that they have an edge over us, and we want them to be promoters of women's rights as well. So we create this safe space. We have one annual conference every year in each country mentioned up there, where women will gather and discuss everything from thought leadership to challenges in their professions, the gender pay gap, gender balance, gender-based violence, how to advance their careers. Depending on the speakers we get, the theme is always varied, but one thing remains: we always discuss how to build leadership skills. That cuts across. So, and we also have coaching programs, like I mentioned, and we have a scholarship fund to fund potential and future leaders in Africa, especially children who drop out of school because they can't, they don't have the money to, or other social pressures. And we tried from the membership, part of the membership fees to funding children potential leaders. And as you know, in Uganda, where I'm from, about 60% of children drop out before they finish primary education for various reasons. So we want to contribute to reducing that gap. So if you become a member, an individual member, it's $100 for people living outside Africa and $30 for those resident in Africa. You have access to premium content. There's some briefings and conferences that we only do for members, but there's some that are external. We also have opportunities where you can volunteer with some of our partners in Africa. And you have priority for mentorship programs and other activities, space to promote your business at our conferences. You can have it at a discounted price. Our conferences attract between 100 to 200 people. So this is a way you can also promote yourself. And if you join as an organization, the price is different. You can go to our website anyway to have that information. I'll just give you the contacts here. So our website information is up there, phenomenalwomenglobal.com. There is information on membership. There is also information on coaching. If you want to be coached and were inspired by my story, and inspired by these presentations today, please drop me an email. It's info@phenomenalwomenglobal.com. You can follow us on Facebook over there, Phenomenal Women Global Geneva, Instagram, Phenomenal Women Global, and Twitter as well. All the details are there. We have a LinkedIn page, and we want to continue this discussion with you. So please do get in touch, send me an email, and we can discuss how you can become a member of Phenomenal Women. And of course, if you just want to receive coaching, I'm also willing to discuss coaching and how that can help you. Thank you very much. I think I'm going to hand back to Christine. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Liza, for your presentation and for highlighting the importance of creating a mindset of success. I'll just wait for you to stop sharing. Thank you. Liza, I just wanted to ask, there's so many powerful points you made, but you talked about, your career journey and coming to a point where you felt like you wanted to move up or you wanted to do more, and that eventually led to you creating Phenomenal Women Global. So it's really interesting because a lot of times when we think about advancing in our careers, we think about the spaces in which we are trained already. So why did you decide, instead of continuing what you were doing, to create a global organization?
I think this stemmed from the need to make African women more visible, because I'm currently working in an environment that is predominantly European, and like several African women working and African men, it is hard to grow and move up very quickly. And I felt that in order for me to feel really fulfilled, I would be able to, first of all, reflect on what I was doing and where I wanted to go. And in doing that reflection and having a coach and a mentor, I realized that I could potentially contribute to empowering women, because we face many barriers in working in these kind of environments. Sometimes we don't network enough, and Eniye mentioned a lot that we need to network, we need to have a visibility plan. And I learned all that when I was doing my leadership course and my coaching, that I needed to do a lot of that. And I felt that my knowledge could be shared with others, because many people don't know that. They just feel stressed and they stay at the same level. But with that knowledge, even when I started, I did get a promotion at one point. And then I did get more ideas and say, okay, it's working for me, so why don't I support another woman? And I also had a lot of women asking me, can you look at my CV? Can you help me draft this and that? And I saw that my support to women, in many cases who I coached or mentored, were, a lot of them were ending up to be successful in their goals. Some I wouldn't even know. I would just say, hear that they have this job or do this and that. That gratification I got from seeing other African women succeed made me feel happy and made me feel useful and fulfilled. And I want to give an example of, I was posted to Zimbabwe, where I worked for 4 months. And this was now during that time when I was coaching, I was being coached, and I got a promotion. I went there for 4 months, and I thought, okay, this is a place with very highly intelligent people, but going through an economic crisis. And I went to the university there, the law school, and I met a girl trying to have an event for women. We joined forces together, and she asked me to coach her. And as I coached her, I realized she was super, super smart, and I was just giving her some sort of direction. Right now, as we speak, she is a great motivational speaker. She's a coach. She was inspired to be a coach. She got a job with an NGO coaching and advising people and leading the strategy. She is less than 30 years old. And she is our focal point as we speak for the Southern Africa region. And so just a little act of coaching and encouraging here and there can make somebody grow so much, even in a place where there's an economic crisis, people are discouraged. But, for me, helping and supporting women of African descent, African women, gives me the greatest gratitude. And that is our, the legacy I feel that I will leave. I mean, I might not be Bill Gates, but I think I will even contributing one baby step in each woman's heart and career is something really important for me. Yeah.
Thank you, Liza. I wanted to ask another question about the Wheel of Life, but before I do that, I want to ask Eniye as well. Liza is talking about the impact, just seeing the impact on people's lives as a coach. Can you share any such experiences with us?
Oh, okay. So I'll share a few experiences, but I'll just choose one. So there's this younger person, because I've been coaching for 2 years. So there's this person I spoke with, and then she had the issues with. She said she was struggling with workload. She finally got a good job that she wanted. She was happy, but she couldn't handle the workload. It was too much, and she was like, she's overwhelmed. She feels there's so much to.
Okay. Do you see the freezing?
So I was like, say, you have to. So can you hear me now?
Yes, please
Yes.
just repeat that.
Okay. So she was struggling with handling the work. She's feeling overwhelmed constantly. The workload is too much. She doesn't even know how to manage everything. Somehow you finally get the dream job and you feel like you don't want it anymore. And so I spoke with her and I told her that you have to realize that the seniors you're reporting to have been on the job longer than you. So you have to give yourself grace and know that this is one step at a time. Plan ahead. And for me, so I taught her this also, which I do. I plan the working week over the weekend. Plan ahead and give room for work that you did not anticipate, because when you work in a big organization, those things would come. And also, it's a thing of, so I spoke with her about a number of things. Give yourself grace, understand that it's one step at a time. That's not to say to give up on your dreams, but look back and see how far you've come. If you've come this far, you can handle this. And we spoke and she came back and she said that those words were so like it was timely for her. She feels a lot better. She's relieved. Right now, she can even handle more because she's taking off all the necessary weight on her. And it was really exciting. And whenever I get this feedback, because I've had a lot of this kind of feedbacks, it gives me a whole lot of joy and even encourages me to go on, because you're thinking it's just a little conversation, but it has made a lot of change in one person's life. And it's part of the things that inspire me, because it's just a little conversation here and there. The things that make a lot of difference are really tiny things, but people don't honestly know. And if nobody tells them, they won't know and they'll keep struggling. And over and again, that thing becomes a pattern of hardship for them.
Thank you for sharing that, Eniye. And I love that. Give yourself grace, because there's a tendency to get into an organization and compare yourself to everyone else. Thank you so much for sharing that. Liza, the Wheel of Life that you mentioned, where you were talking about the different elements of a holistic life. Do you think, or maybe from your experience, that a lot of times we define success in a way that isn't very balanced and, ignores all of these other aspects? So you just focus on your corporate side and that's it. What is your take on that?
Yes, and I think a lot of people that I've coached, the most of their goals are career and money, which is not bad. We need the money, we need the career. But I think in order to be balanced, we need to think introspectively and look at those other areas of our lives, especially as women, where we have family, we have kids, we have to balance it all out. And if we just focus on our career, then our kids are stressed, or we don't pay attention to our kids, for example. If we don't focus on exercising and doing things that are healthy for our body, our health deteriorates and we're not able to go to work every day and fulfill. So everything is interrelated. And I think as a coach, we have a duty to point that out. And you don't have to go into so much detail, but at least make people reflect on other aspects of their life. And they can choose their own balance. Some people do 80% career and 10% relationships, let's say. And that's, I mean, your family, your friends. But it's important to be a balanced person in order to achieve success. Otherwise, then you get depressed or you start having the anger issues. Balance for me, I'm a Libra. Balance is very, very, very important.
Right, thank you. To conclude, I just want to remind everybody that if you're looking for coaches, you are staring right now at the screen at two amazing coaches. If you want to build your personal brand and your career to network, you can contact Eniye. Also has an online course that you can do. Liza is more than ready to help you accelerate your success. And ladies, in closing, could you just tell us, why is it important to have a coach? Eniye, please start.
It's important because, first of all, you need to stay motivated. One, two, information. Information is power. It's the big deal because the things you want to do, sometimes all you need. There's some things I have struggled with for days, and I pick up a phone and call a mentor and a coach, and in a 5 minutes conversation is resolved. And that's how much information can solve problems for you. So that's why you need a coach, somebody who knows exactly what you need.
Yeah.
If you're struggling with your career, this person knows this and that will help you. Contact them and get the information. The things you're going to spend 5 years trying to figure out, you can solve it in 3 months. So why spend 5 years? It saves you time, it gives you information, and then it gives you motivation.
Thanks, Eniye. Liza?
Yeah, I think I agree with everything she said. And just to add on, I feel we are all created for a purpose. And it's high time that as Africans, the Generation X, millennials, whatever, that we find that purpose. And a coach just helps you understand your role and break down your purpose and your goals into actionable issues, into actions. So it's much easier, and it's nice when two are gathered together and you make a plan together and you organize your life and have a clear vision for your life. Coaching is a great tool for that. And you can also have peace when you know that you have a plan. It's written down and it's there, and you have a set goal to reach. It just makes a whole world of difference into in your satisfaction levels of life and gives you peace.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies, for this very informative session. I believe that you have touched the hearts and lives of Africans all over the continent and in the diaspora. And I'd just like to encourage you to continue doing this amazing work that you're doing. And that's the end of our session, and we can take a look at the comments. Short, Eniye, could you start off with that question for us, please?
Okay, so I can't tell you to do either A or B. What I can say is, what is your big plan? What is your career plan? The 5-year plan that you have. So that's why typically on my online program, I teach people to draw a career plan. So in the big picture of 5 years, which of these two options aligns with where you're headed? That is the question. So once you figure out which of these two options aligns with where you're headed, it's easier. I can't say it's easy. It's easier to make the decision. So what you need to do first is to sit down and draw up the big career plan, at least a 5-year plan. Then look at both options. It's taking the master's opportunity more in line with where I want to be, or is quitting this job and looking for another job, finding one and quitting this job in alignment with where I want to be. That answers the question for you. That will help you a lot in deciding which of the two options to go with.
Thank you, Eniye. Liza.
I have more or less the same view as her. It's important to reevaluate your vision and to put clear goals. So this person should also, like we said, reflect and see where they are now and what they want to become in 5 years' time. If this job does not advance their ultimate goal, I mean, I would advise them to leave. But if it does, then they should look at the different angles and come up with very clear personal development objectives.
Comment here says, thank you for the presentation. Was that mine, the meaning of your first name? Yes, that is the meaning of Eniye's name. Elizabeth says, what keeps you motivated not to lose track of your goals or slow down on them when you meet different challenges in your life as a coach? Eniye, could you start off with that? And please let us know where you are contacting us from.
Okay, so the first thing is to find your why. Why are you doing what you do? Because I say this over and again, life can distract you and break you in a lot of ways. But once you find the reason why you're doing what you're doing, it keeps you motivated. That's not to say there won't be times where you won't feel enough motivation to keep going. You need a network you can fall back on. So you need a support system. The whole idea of networking is not just people out there, but it goes onto a support system. You have this big goal, you have these big dreams. Who are the people you know you can share it with that have faith in you? It's important to share with people who have faith in you. So you can fall back on your network on the days that the motivation from your why is not enough. And also remember this, you're not going to get motivation every other day. Some days you will not feel motivated. You will need discipline to keep going. So find your why, use your network, and remember that motivation is not enough. You need to add discipline. And above all, please give yourself grace. Rome was not built in a day.
Thank you, Eniye. Liza?
I think for me, in addition to what Eniye has said, is the need to continuously build yourself in terms of knowledge. Because yes, you can get bored and things are changing very quickly, but continue to look for courses and things that build you so that you're motivated and you can also be innovative. And I also think that it's important to have those positive associations. So groups of people who are positive and have similar interests as you. And I emphasize this very lot because a lot, because if you want to be successful and think successfully, you have to be surrounded by positive people, but you also have to be in those groups where you have this common knowledge or common interests. And I gave this as an example in my presentation. If you want to succeed, for example, in law, then start hanging out with different lawyers doing different things. If you want to be a good business person, join those groups and be motivated, learn new skills, learn new what's happening on the market or whatever. That's what I can say.
Thank you, Liza. I just want to quickly look at what's happening in the chat section before I get to some other questions. Faye Kemi was asking, okay, she wanted to know if everyone is muted automatically. So this is a webinar, not a meeting. Sorry, I didn't explain that earlier. With the webinar, you can hear us and you can text. I see Laura from Belgium. Please let us know where you are. I see someone, okay, let me mention the countries that I see. Belgium, Switzerland, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Senegal, Namibia, Kenya. Wow, thank you so much. I see a question here from Cynthia who says, what do you think are some of the key areas of self-development, generic, to brace oneself for a constantly changing world? Eniye, could you take that question?
Okay, so again, self-development is never in isolation. It's always in relation to where you're headed. So the first question is, where are you headed? It's the direction you're headed that determines the plan you draw. So I could tell you a number of things that can apply to my career path as a coach, as a lawyer. Those will work for me. And so even if there is a change, which changes always happen in my industry, I can adjust because I'm already developing myself. So one, find where you're headed, draw a plan that aligns with where you're headed, and remember that you need to constantly review your plan because times are changing. So don't just draw a plan today and run with it. No, run with it for say for this year and next year, at most 2 years. Review that 5 years plan again because changes would have happened. Even LinkedIn releases the top skills for professionals annually. So that's how much you need to review your plan, even when you draw a 5-year plan.
Thank you, Eniye. Dorcas asks, how do I make myself visible at the organization where my superior does not believe in my capabilities? Liza, please take that question.
I think with visibility, in an organization that you work with, you should try and be part of high-level discussions, working groups within offices. Sometimes there are working groups to do particular things, and make sure that your input is noticed and is in there. And I think this is one of the things that I try to do at work. When they establish maybe a working group on gender or a working group on, working on a specific subject matter at the office, and they call for volunteers, I try to put myself there. Because once you do that, a lot of times the senior management does come in to listen to the presentations and notice you. So it's always good to do that, and you can also start by writing opinions or on different issues that your office is working on, publishing, doing things like that, because it makes you more visible and it makes you sort of a thought leader in that specific area. Anything to increase visibility, but you can also once in a while schedule appointments with influential people in your organizations, and make it clear that you're available or you're interested in working with them and stuff like that. You can't, these days it's not enough, for example, to just apply for a job or get a promotion like that. People have to see you, and they have to see that whatever you have to offer is valuable. You can't just wait. Sometimes I know it can be useful sometimes when you do apply, if you know the particular recruiting manager, just to say I applied and tell them a little bit about what you can do. I know there's so many views on this aspect, but I think in many occasions it works. I did it once, and I actually got like an interview because recruiters get like thousands of applications. But I actually sent an email and I said, listen, I applied, and in one paragraph I summarized why they should take me. And I did get an informal interview, and I did get the job because it made somebody want to. They didn't reply to me, but then they did actually look at my CV from the 1,000 they had received, and somehow they saw that I could do the job. So I can advise, just networking and being visible.
Thank you, Liza. Let me scroll through a few more comments. David from Kenya says, Eniye, visibility was a huge takeaway for me. Thank you. Kemi says, Liza, I want to hug you right now. I received some inspiration last night, and it echoes most of your teachings on the success mindset. Fafa in Botswana says, thank you for highlighting that achieving success is multifaceted, Liza. Too often we dedicate our energies to job performance and neglect other very important aspects of our lives, like our spiritual being, but we're not going to perform at our best if any of our composite facets are suffering. There are a lot of comments here, guys. Thank you so much. I just need to take a look at a few questions that I received via email, because those came in last night. Butu from Botswana asked, how do you network without becoming irritating? And how do you position yourself in front of important people without offending them? I once tried to befriend an important person, and she looked at me like I was low and unimportant. Eniye, please could you answer that?
Okay, so the first thing is that you should know that there are people. Networking is human relationships, so there's surely going to be conflicts in networking. So have that in mind and don't take such responses personal. It's not easy, but don't take it personal. Secondly, network with value. Don't reach out to people just to have a conversation. Bring value. The thing is that even people would think that you're not good enough to associate with, when you bring value, they're going to respect the value you bring. So network from a place of value. I'll give an example. If you attend a conference and everybody's trying to reach out to the speaker to talk about what the speaker just presented, what is new about you also raising that conversation? What if before the event you have looked up the speaker and you have read some of the articles or papers that speaker had written? And so when you're reaching out as somebody who has done the groundwork, who is asking questions about other areas or other jobs or other papers that that speaker has worked on in the past. That makes you the unique person to have a conversation with. So you can't do what everybody else is doing and expect to get good response, number one, and to realize that these things are not personal. You remember, sometimes a person may even be having a bad day when you're trying to talk to them. See, all of that is still human relationship. Above all, network from a place of value.
Thank you so much, Eniye. Rauna in Namibia asks, thank you, or says, thank you for a great presentation, Liza, on success. How do you keep going when you are putting in all the effort, but you do not see the desired results? Liza, please take that.
Well, I'm assuming it's a general question by not seeing the desired results. I think change does not come in an instant. That's why I started with showing icons like Martin Luther King and Mandela and people like that. Depending on what you want to achieve, the results can take long. It took long for South Africa to have independence and have the first Black president. It took long for Martin Luther King to have that, desegregation and end discrimination against African Americans. So it depends on what you're working on. And that's why it's very important to have a clear vision and know that when you do face challenges or setbacks, what are the different options for you? What are the different scenarios? Back to the success mindset. Think positive. Yes, you might not have a result today. You might not have it tomorrow. You might have it in 5 years' time, but still, that is a result. And you should not be discouraged because change takes a very long time, depending on what you are working on. But of course, if it's a career and you feel you're stuck and you're not moving, maybe it's time to look for another one. And that's where you go back to the drawing board with a coach or by yourself and define where do I want to be in 10 years' time and set clear goals, strategies, and action. Thank you.
Thank you, Liza. Cynthia in Walvis Bay here in Namibia says, I want to know how to secure my job because of Corona retrenchments. And now we have a second lockdown in Walvis. So for those who don't know, the coastal area, the Irongo region has been placed under lockdown again. And of course, people are facing all sorts of uncertainty. Eniye, could you give her any advice on that?
Okay, so what you can do is put in good work and more than usual work during this period. I want to assume you're working from home. So put in more work. Do extra, like be exceptional in the work you turn in. And secondly, don't be a robot. There is no evaluation process that involves just objective documentation. There is a human element. So even as you're on lockdown and you're working remotely, try and put a human face to your relations with your colleagues, with your superiors, so they remember you, like you're still in their mind. They see a good work that is coming from you, and you are also top of mind. Because whether we like it or not, when they make the decisions on who to retrench and who to keep on the job, human element is going to come in place. And it's people who they know, they like, and they trust that they are most likely going to recommend to stay on the job. So please put in good work, go the extra mile, and put in a human element to the work you do.
Thank you, Eniye. Peter in Kenya says, I'm an engineer by profession, but my dream is to start a foundation for the training of artistic people who make arts and crafts. However, it is hard to explain to people. Everyone I need support from mocks me and tells me to focus on engineering. How do I go about becoming successful in this idea? Liza, could you please take this?
Yes, in my presentation, I said remove those negative people from your life or success blockers. If you want to be successful, don't listen to negativity like that. Associate again. Now you want to become, to help artists, start associating with artist groups and being in those circles and seeing what they need. Have your set goal for what you want to do and do it. Step by step, have that plan. And I think you should not be bogged down by people telling you, no, you can't do it. When I was also in pursuing my vision of establishing this organization, there were some friends who were like, no, we don't need it. We don't need it. Women should struggle on their own. It's fine. And I listened for a while and put it away. But I met someone who said, it's your vision, pursue it. Do you want to go and book a conference room to start? Step number 1 on your list. So if you are the kind of person who needs encouragement, find an accountability partner who will encourage you. I had a number of those, but I also had a number of people saying, we don't need it. So stick to your conscience and your gut, because you see that the need and art is very important. So have that plan in place with clear timelines. And I just want to give a small example of, I coached an artist in Zimbabwe. I'm not an artist, but I love art. I have art from all over the places in every single corner of the world in my house, because I love it. But I found this artist at a meeting, a young lady, and she had this very peculiar art that I loved. And she was selling it very cheap. And I thought, if this art was in Geneva, it would be so expensive. I said, how do you promote your art? And she just said, just at these women's meetings. And I told her that you should have a plan for it. And I coached her. I'm not an artist, but I coached her on how to be more visible with her art and how to, have a Facebook page and meet artists and, just build herself. And now she does have a Facebook page, and she's also helping people, other women in Zimbabwe, learn that art so that they can make more money. As I said, in Zimbabwe, they are going through an economic crisis. And so she has created employment for a few people without jobs, unknowingly, because she extended her vision to say, okay, I need people to help me. So each item that I train you on and we sell, you get some money, I get some money. So Mr. Engineer, please do it. And you can contact me if you need support on how to push that forward.
Thank you, Liza. I'm just going to take the very last question, and then we do have to close. Fatou in Senegal says, please, what is the best way to change friends and make successful friends? My friends are not ambitious and they think I'm looking for attention when I try to improve my life. Eniye.
Okay, so the best way is to start withdrawing from them. And now, because I understand that friends are like for human relationship and all of that, so there's this attachment. If I cut off from them, who will I relate with? As you withdraw from them, start getting into associations with people that are in the direction that you're headed. And thank God for social media. There are a lot of such groups on the internet. What area do you want to develop yourself on? You'd find groups on Facebook, on LinkedIn. You'll find groups all over the place. Look for such communities and join those communities, and gradually withdraw from your friends. Coach. That will coach you through and keep you motivated. One last thing is that stop sharing your vision with people that you know are not interested in it. Because what will happen is that they'll give you negative feedback, and because they are your friends, it's going to hurt you. So stop sharing your visions with people you know very well, don't even see it, so they can't even make meaning of it. And while you're also withdrawing from them. So just do this, a few things I've mentioned, and it's going to help you.
Thank you, Eniye. Liza?
I think I take a contrary view, but friends are not necessarily supposed to, not everyone can support your vision. A lot of times there is competition with friends, or maybe they're just interested in beauty or whatever. You can still keep those friends for the times that you need to do that. So what I do, And what I do is I have friends from all kinds of backgrounds. Some are friends, professional friends, and are also close friends, and they see the vision. But others they're more interested in beauty or going to do their nails and things like that. And I don't necessarily share my vision with those ones. I mean, once I mention it to you and you don't get it, I just leave you. But when I need to do my nails and have a drink out and whatever, I will call you up, because that's the purpose that you serve for that time. And that's where our friendship lines are. But then there are others who you always have intellectual discussions. They are your friends. Maybe you're the same profession, you're in the same job, and they build you in that aspect. So just be strategic. But if you don't have much time, because I also had to cut off certain people because I saw that they were toxic to me. If you don't have time and you want to achieve clear goals, then do what Eniye said and slowly phase them out and stick with the ones that help you achieve your goals. We have a limited time to live on this earth, like Nelson Mandela said. So let's use that time to build ourselves as well and remove toxicity and people who will not progress you from your lives. It's okay. Relationships expire as well.
Thank you so much, Liza. And I love what you've both said. I mean, it's not all the time that you can cut people out. You need to know if somebody is toxic and constantly bringing you down, that's not somebody that you need to be around. I love what Eniye said about using online communities to find the support that you need, find a coach. And also Liza has said that, there are people in our lives who we really can't cut out. We've known them for decades. Some of them may be in our families, and so we interact with them to an extent. I'd like to thank everybody who participated in today's session. I think one of the biggest takeaways, or two of the biggest takeaways, are work for your career visibility. And also, if you are not being appreciated, you need to create your own personal and career development plan. Keep following it. Bring in the human element when you're doing your work, and you will eventually qualify to be in the space where you are appreciated. And Liza, thank you again so much. I'm looking forward to interacting with you again. You're both doing amazing things. Okay, Ame is in Botswana. She says, I really enjoyed today's presentation. Eniye, I have learned that I should always remember to network from a place of value and strive for difference. Liza, find an accountability partner. Thank you. The power of platforms like this is we get to reach out to so many people. A lot of times we take our knowledge for granted and we don't realize that people are hungry for the knowledge that we have. And everybody who's watching today, I'd like to encourage you to share your expertise with other people. Eniye and Liza are doing what I always call reversing the impacts of the brain drain, where you lose people from the continent and they don't look back, but they're both so invested in the continent and building. So Eniye, Liza, thank you again. Those of us, thank those of you who are watching on Facebook. Our apologies for any tech issues, but you will definitely be involved. I did my best to cover all your questions as well, and have a great Sunday. Any closing words, Eniye and Liza?
Eniye, you first.
Oh, okay. So I'm really glad you all joined this session, and I would really encourage you to keep in touch. You can reach me on all social media platforms. I already shared the link to my DSHA page. Click the link, you can send me an email through that link. You can reach me on all my social media platforms through that link. So yeah. And you take care and go make the best out of your career. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. Liza?
I just want to say for creating this platform. As I said earlier, supporting the continent, the motherland, as my son would call it, is a priority for me. And I really want to ensure that African people, especially in the diaspora, support the efforts of Africans, and Africans support our efforts in the diaspora, and make sure that there's that synergy. There's a lot of knowledge to be shared between both continents, and I feel that we can synergize together. And I want to advise everyone listening to start your vision and to start leaving that legacy behind. don't get old without a plan and you have no money, but start the vision now and develop that business you wanted to do or that career you wanted to do. Get a coach. And I wish you all the best. Have a happy, happy Saturday.
Thank you so much, everyone, and good